Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force with some World of Warcraft discussion. Today I'd like to talk with you about my first impressions of the Warlords of Draenor. Now, I did play the beta for a bit, but now that the game is feature complete, it's launched, I want to talk with you about launch day, and I want to specifically focus on some of the things that I thought were neat or interesting that I've seen so far in the 5 hours that I've played today. Now, keep in mind, this is not like a review of WoW. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, it's not my favorite combat system in the world. It's the same old WoW that you've known for the past 10 years. It's the tab target combat, it's the endgame gear grind, it's the battleground PvP, it's the same cartoony aesthetic. All of those things ring true. You either like those or you don't. But with Warlords of Draenor, they've done some things that have sort of caught my attention and I thought have made my leveling experience so far today pretty neat. So let's talk about those things. Let's focus on those things. First and foremost, I want to say that as has been the case with every single expansion, the art direction and sort of the graphical stylings, they continuously get better and better. With every expansion since the Burning Crusade going forward, I've always thought the game looked better, and I don't know how the artists continue to do it, but they do. They take this 10-year-old engine and they still make it almost look and feel up to date. I mean, honestly, Warlords of Draenor pretty much looks as good as WildStar does. Obviously, that's an opinion thing, but it's really astounding to me that they're taking this engine that's so old and they can make it look good, in my opinion. You know, we've got the cartoony aesthetic that WoW has and will always be, but man, oh man, kudos go to the artist. This thing, the first zone, Frostfire Ridge, I think looks phenomenal. Very desolate looking place, sort of like a windswept, snow-covered land, but I think it's quite pretty. I'll say I'll go as far as to say it's pretty. So while going through this time around, here's something else that I've really almost never done in my WoW career, and that's sort of taking my time and trying to go through and take things in a little bit more in terms of the storyline, the way it's progressing and all that stuff. I've taken some time to sort of read the quest dialogue and listened to the NPCs when they're chatting. There's a bit of NPC chatter that'll happen when we're going through the main storyline quest. You'll have large NPCs like Thrall, for example, talking with you about what's going on. So it's more than just the text dialogue. And also keep in mind, some of the stuff has been present in prior expansions. I'm just sort of talking with you. I'm just trying to wrap up my general thoughts to the day and the things that caught my attention. So yes, the game looks awesome, great art direction, and I have been taking my time a little bit. And in taking my time, I've noticed some pretty neat things. One of which is as you're going through and doing your average quest, you know, there's motivations to every single area, but the quests are pretty much the same. You're collecting things, you're freeing people, or you're killing things. It's more or less what it all boils down to. They've also added this extra bonus objective thing, and this is going to be something similar to what we saw in Guild Wars 2 and something that we're starting to see in a lot more MMOs. Besides your set hard quests that you have in your quest log, these are area quests. So you will walk into an area, and one particular area that I came upon, as soon as I walked into it, said, we want you to kill these ice elementals and release these frozen orcs. And so I would just do that. It would have the bonus objective pop up on my quest tracker on the right hand side, and then I would do that and I'd get my reward of experience and currency. So yeah, just a nice little extra stumble upon quest as opposed to everything that you're picking up from NPCs. And something I've also found around some of these bonus objective areas are these special events. Now I've come across two of these so far. The first one I thought was really cool. It was called the Mordul Tower, and it was sort of this this expansion has to deal with time travel a little bit. It was sort of this like pocket of slowed time. So I walked into a tower and time slowed, and all the ogre NPCs that were in here were completely frozen in place. And all it was sort of like this little mini event. I would walk in and there was these little time anomalies where I could increase my movement speed. And all these ogres who were frozen in place there, I could pickpocket them. So I was going up this tower, pickpocketing them until I got all the way to the very top. And at the very top, I actually got myself a nice little item. And so basically it's just this little event where you can get some some extra gear while you're leveling up. I came across a second event as well, which was the Grizzled Frostwolf veteran, and he had been commanded to leave his home because there was an invasion of orcs coming or something, and he asked me, what do you think I should do? Should I stay here and fight, or should I retreat? And I was like, well, we are warriors, we will stay here and fight. So we stayed there, we fought off some waves of enemies, it's a pretty simple thing, and then he rewarded me by giving me a loot from his chest inside of his house. So again, these are things that, although they function the same as any old quest that you would do, it's something that you just stumble upon and you see on your mini-map. And I think what that does is when you've got a quest in your quest log, I think it feels more like a task. Whereas where you find something in the world that you just do, I think it just creates a more of a lively feeling world, which I kind of enjoy that. So yeah, we've got the bonus objectives, we've got the special events, and then also scattered throughout these zones are a bunch of these mini bosses, and I do believe these were in Mist of Pandaria, but I didn't play a ton of Mist. I'm pretty sure that these were in Mist of Pandaria. They're basically, they'll show up as a skull icon on your minimap, and they've been all over the place so far in Frostfire Rage. I think I've come across at least like 10 to 15 of them. And they'll be this little boss dude who will have some sort of a special mechanic. You know, a lot of times it's just avoid a big heavy attack or a line attack, or he's gonna charge, or he's got a bunch of minions he'll summon. But nothing too fancy. They're just a lot harder to kill than your regular NPCs, and the really neat thing is that they give you blue loot. And that's one of the things that I've definitely been noticing. It seems like there is a much more frequent handing out of gear in this leveling up process, which I really enjoy, because consistently getting upgrades, you know, that's why we play MMOs. That's why we play a lot of RPGs, hack and slash games like Diablo. It's that loot reward and feeling like your character is constantly getting more powerful. And it feels like there's a continuous stream besides quest rewards, also from these special events and from these mini bosses. Just by being out in the world and questing and exploring, I'm constantly getting upgrades. It's not like I just have to go grind dungeons to do that. It seems like I'm just constantly getting blue gear, which is really cool. And then the last thing I want to touch on that I've enjoyed so far in this first day is the garrison system. The garrison system seems pretty neat so far. If you don't know anything about it, it's basically like this home base where you can set up these little pockets of specialized buildings. So for example, my character is a blacksmith, so I'm building this blacksmith station where I can do my blacksmithing and get blacksmithing supplies every day. And a big part of the garrison system is you have these followers and you can send them out on quests. And what this all basically sums up to is, as I go through the story, I unlock these companions that will be part of my garrison system, and there will be quests for them to go out and defeat certain enemies, and they have weaknesses. So you have to line up one of your followers who has a strength to counter the weakness of the quest boss, and then that gives you a better chance for them to complete the quest. And if they do, you'll either get rewards of like gear or gold or some sort of a currency or something like that. So I haven't been able to dive too much into the garrison system at the moment, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who know everything about them so far, but from what I've seen as of this point, it is pretty interesting. And I guess that's pretty much it. Again, the point of this video was sort of to talk with you about the things that I thought were neat so far. Once again, it's still WoW, and a couple of weeks to a couple of months from now, whenever it ends up happening, I will likely stop playing again. But I have to say, I'm having a lot of fun right now. It's pretty neat. I'm liking it so far. But again, you watching this video, this isn't me trying to sell you on it. I'm just saying, hey, these are some things that I thought were interesting. Maybe you'll like them as well, maybe not. Either way, I'll keep you guys up to date as I continue my experience through the World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor expansion. One thing I definitely want to do, and one of my favorite things in WoW, is tanking dungeons. You know, the 5-mans, raids. I've really done it all. You know, the past couple expansions, I didn't get much into the endgame raiding, but prior to that, I was in a hardcore endgame raiding guild, grinding mats for like 20 hours a week and then raiding for another 20 to 30. And even though I've tailed off on the hardcore raiding stuff as I've gotten older and as I've sort of spread my interest in games across multiple titles as opposed to focusing on just one. I still have always really enjoyed tanking, so I'm stoked to jump in and check out these 5-mans, and who knows, maybe once I get to level 100 I'll dabble a little bit in the raiding system. I know Blizzard has made leaps and bounds to make that more accessible if you're not devoting too much time to their game, and maybe that's something that I can check out and share with you guys as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching this little video covering my first impressions for day 1. Stay tuned for more Warlords of Draenor coming up. Have a great afternoon, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep watching and keep owning.